Just as the panelists are leaving the stage, I'd like to introduce Captain Joe DePete for some closing thoughts, and then I'll be back with you just to close it out shortly thereafter.
Well, everyone, I get the last. I get to close it up a little bit. Everybody's kind of fallen asleep here a little bit. So I just wanted to say once again, thank you very much for your attendance here today. It really makes a difference. And I meant what I said earlier. I believe when you have great minds get in a room and we exchange ideas, really the possibilities are limitless. In fact, the only limitations we have are only those we impose upon ourselves, I think. And I think that was made pretty clear here throughout the day. So I just had a show of hands. Anybody here, the Honorable Mark Gano, Minister of Transportation last night, anybody hear any of his comments? Show of hands here. Well, some of you. You know, I just wanted to say that since the new government's taking place, Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister Trudeau, I've been very encouraged. In fact, I think last night's comments, particularly regarding flight time, duty time, unmanned aerial systems or RPAS, lasers, I found them not only encouraging, but downright inspirational. And I think the government seems to be off to a very auspicious start. So looking forward to building on that energy. So let's take a look at what we've done today. Well, day's flying by just as we thought it would. And it's been because of the terrific speakers and everyone here in the audience. I want to look at this as a journey, all right? So today's flight schedule has been completed as expected, and it's been because of our terrific speakers, our moderators, staff, and everyone here in the audience as well as online. I'd like to offer a few observations now as we wrap up, but let me start with, I have to do this, thanking our sponsors. Okay, so please, Iridian Spectral Technologies and Clarion Drone Academy, please join me in a round of applause for them. We can't do it. So, again, first stop on today's flight was to hear some background on our sector of transportation from our morning keynote speaker. The studies conducted by the Canadian Senate, followed by a review of Canadian Transportation Act, and culminating in a nationwide consultation this year, will hopefully focus on priorities for our government to effect real change. Our second stop was a panel discussion on competition in our industry. We heard that now, more than ever, it's necessary to reduce rents, fees, and taxes, as well as to invest government revenues from this industry back into this industry. We have the same problem south of the border, by the way, so that the Canadian air transportation can compete on a level playing field internationally and even here at home against other modes of transportations. Our flight then took us onto the second panel, where we heard about how security screening continues to play a key role in protecting and reassuring the traveling public that this mode of transportation is secure. But we also heard that there's significant room for improvement in order to make the process more efficient as well as more cost-effective. And that was based on I mentioned that earlier today with my question, because I truly believe, particularly in the area of KCM, that if we focus our limited resources on people through a risk-based security approach, on people we are unsure about, that we don't know, not on the people who we already do know. Because as you all know, most flight crew members, all flight crew members for that matter, are screened to a level you won't find in any other profession. So it just seems common sense to me. So there'll be a follow-up with the authorities to achieve ALPA's goal of enhancing our members' role as part of our security team. Now, our keynote lunch speaker gave us some insights into key priorities that Transport Canada has for the near term as they affect our industry. Financial constraints will limit the extent to which significant changes can occur, but with these priorities in mind, ALPA will work with government to maximize the return on government's investment. And finally, the next stop on our journey was a panel discussion on safety and service. Representatives from our regulator, air navigation service provider, an air operator, and another pilot association highlighted their plans and priorities for advancing both safety and service, building on an already impressive world-class system of which Canada can be proud. Sure, there are challenges ahead, in particular with the sparsely populated but vast and environmentally harsh northern and remote areas. But the industry is working together with ALPA to make these improvements. As we heard, government continues to have a very important role in that regard. I'll say it again, government has a very important role to improve that in that regard. So we've arrived at our final stop on today's schedule, a coffee and networking session to continue our discussions and build relationships for our future efforts. I hope that you've enjoyed this conference as much as I have. We've intended that this time together be aimed at improving the collaboration between ALPA senior executives from both sides of the border, the government, airline industry, academia, and other interested stakeholders. And I believe that we've achieved that goal. Please do not hesitate to let us know how we may work together toward that mutual goal, starting with completing the evaluation forms that you all see in front of you again. Now, in closing, I just want to say one thing. I want to thank Dan and the rest of the Canadian Board, Brian Shuri, Rod Lipchuk, and all my friends at the Canadian Board. I'd also like to point out that this thing doesn't happen, it looks smooth, but it takes a lot of work to get into it. So I'd like to thank all the ALPA staff for their hard work, for helping put this together today, as well as the staff of the Marriott, so thank you very much. And also, most importantly, thank you for your attendance, because that's what makes it really, truly a success. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. And I want to also thank my U.S. ALPA colleagues. Many were here this week. We had our executive council meeting, and many stayed on, spent another night here in Ottawa so they could attend today's function, which is another night away from their families. So it's very much appreciated, Joe and others that did stick around. Joe did mention thanks to the staff, and I'd actually like to name them because it is important. A lot of preparation goes into a function like this. I know some of them were here in this room at 5 o'clock this morning getting ready. So from our U.S. office in Herndon, Virginia, Tina Long, Jonathan Newen, Mark Ngolia, Eric Davis, Corey Caldwell, Molly Martin, she's not here right now, but she did a lot of prep work for us, and Jerry Wright. And from our Ottawa office, Kevin Sutka, and a special thanks to Pamela Black for helping to put this on. So thank you very much.